bisnis Anda 24 jam, kapanpun, dimanapun. Semua urusan jadi lebih mudah. Download BNI Direct Mobile.
BNI.
Recording in progress.
Siap, ya. Ini saya jalan ya.
Pak, tunggu, ini ada yang belum, Pak. Pak, ada tagihan pajak.
Oke.
Pak, gaji karyawan harus diotorisasi.
Beres.
Halo Pak, pembayaran supplier harus segera jalan ya Pak.
Oke.
Gampang.
Lakukan semua transaksi harian perusahaan Anda. Anda dapat dengan mudah mengelola transfer management, billing payment, electricity payment, dan lainnya. Dengan BNI Direct Mobile, Anda dapat mengelola bisnis Anda 24 jam, kapanpun, dimanapun. Semua urusan jadi lebih mudah. Download BNI Direct Mobile.
BNI.
Hello, good afternoon. Well, not quite this afternoon. Sorry about that. We had about a 15-minute break of our early morning from our morning session of the ESCO Business Summit, and our focus on the front was the prospects and challenges, and we're going to now hone in a little more with some of the local players and really focus in on what the ESCO needs and challenges are in Indonesia. And it's my distinct pleasure to introduce our first presenter, Pak Banu Anang Priyanto, who is the Secretary General of APCONINDO, the Indonesian ESCO Association. Been very active in the ESCO industry and energy efficiency for over 10 years. And so, Banu, we're very anxious to hear your view of what the ESCO challenges are in Indonesia. We heard many on the first half, and but hoping you can provide some insights that would augment or perhaps even amend some of what we heard this morning. So please take the floor. We look forward to your comments.
Okay. Thanks, Pak Tom. Nice to meet you again. Let me start with sharing my paper on this. Is that the paper is already on the screen, right, Pak Tom?
Yes, we can see it well.
Okay. Okay, Pak Tom. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, all the participants of the session. Let me introduce myself. I'm Banu Anang Priyanto. I'm representative of the Indonesian ESCO Association, APCONINDO, and we'd like to thanks to the Mas K and the organizer of this session to give us a chance to sharing the picture of the challenging of ESCO business in Indonesia. As requested by the organizer, that we will share to you the challenges of the ESCO model in Indonesia. Mainly, we would like to share the business ESCO situation currently, in the past, or maybe we will have some of the story when APCONINDO established from the beginning, and also we expected to have a next move expectedly after the pandemic is over. Some of the information that I'm sharing here is maybe repeat same items matter by the early presentation, because we are all concerned as an ESCO issue in Indonesia. But I would like to highlight that in this paper, it is APCONINDO perspective, challenging point of view, and we would like also some sharing for the proposing solution or way out for the adopting the current condition right now. Okay, let me start with the presentation first. This is the main barrier of ESCO model. To be honestly, this is a general barrier. It happens in many countries, but this is our picture in Indonesia as well. We identify some of the similar barrier happen in other country, because APCONINDO have frequently contact and discussion with other ESCO association, and we classified in three barriers. I will not specify or explain one by one of these barriers, because maybe there's already discussed, already present in detail by early presenters. But maybe some of the main issue again and again I would like to highlight in the next page for the what is the remaining and the main barriers, main challenges that we are still facing right now is still remaining classical. Finally, the main barrier is on the financing and investments. Of course, there is another driver of the ESCO market development, and we will have a review what is the progress of the driver to promote the ESCO in Indonesia. This will be present in the next page. So this I believe this paper will share to all the participants, so participants can identify more about this barrier. I don't see the difference issue unless a similar again is about financing and investment will be the highlight issue that interesting to discuss here. But to discuss about the investment and financing, I also follow Tom opinion from years ago. What is recommendation? What is advice? Because he has a experience ESCO development in US. He also sharing the knowledge and the comparison between why now in US and in Europe's ESCO model is mostly successfully to promote other than developed country like in the region. So it will be interesting to discuss after the next page. Sorry. Next is this is the Indonesia current ESCO market profiles. This we identify based on our perspective as Apkenindo, which is Apkenindo have a member either from state-owned company and private companies. Maybe some of the important items we would like to share it to you. That's these Indonesia and the regional country. Mostly the model that preferred by the customer is shared saving models rather than guaranteed saving. These are the pictures that I think ESCO stake, including the regulator, maybe give more attention to these models. Why this model is more preferable than share saving than guaranteed saving? It will be also have some of the identified or option solution or discussion in the last my presentation. In general, I can conclude that, to be frankly, ESCO market in Indonesia is still underdeveloped market. This already happened since a few years ago, based on some of the key drivers, which is we identify which one is already have a progress significance, and which of the driver market is stagnant, and what is the less progress on the market drivers. And you will have our Apkenindo review. But anyway, the banking or financial perspective is also interesting to be more. We are in the ESCO entrepreneur. It's more aggressive to have a discussion and approach, because Indonesia financial regulation is still now not too many ESCO lending developed in for ESCO project. As maybe also in other country, banking sector or financial sector still on the mostly on the corporate level lending products. Here Indonesia also still like that, but in another current demands, ESCO, to be honestly, need more than project financing that corporate level financings. And this is the big challenging for the monetary authority and also ESCO state, and how we rather than we just maybe waiting the improvement of the regulators, improvement of the regulation in the banking sector or financing sector, maybe ESCO entrepreneurs should be thinking about more innovative financing models. And this we can learn from US. Another issue in this space, I think, is a similar issue or similar profile. By concept, ESCO should be fostering the energy efficiency business. By concept, because ESCO have to eliminate some of the problems for on the energy user side, and indeed ESCO have a capacity and a capability to solve these barriers. How they solve is by concept I present in this space, but how is the actual on the side is a different story. But my goal to present here is to just only sharing with other ESCO interesting party, other ESCO entrepreneur to be as a hint how to accommodate the ESCO barriers, multi barriers. Is this also multi barriers illustration that also same maybe similar item with other presenter earlier. This is in the left side. We try to identify or review what is the key promotion driver of energy efficiency and ESCO ESCO project in Indonesia. At least, of course, this is another key driver is also stipulated in other in a lot of paper about ESCO in the world, but at least we have 6 key drivers that we have to give attention for that. Is the demand side management to be changed by regulation if that's necessary, and it is necessary because if we just waiting a customer demand change, it will be slowly, and it will be more need more afford more capital. But I think regulator is already now still considering to keep make how the demand side is can be driven by regulation. Second is ESCO capacity. ESCO capacity is a lot meaning of that, the meaning of the ESCO facility. But this is to just illustrate that ESCO capacity is also undeveloped in Indonesia because concerning about the capital limited, equity limited, access to financing, and other reasons that ESCO cannot handle take the risk or have a eligible as a borrower from a banking point of view. As well about the human resource for technical is I think there is no the main problem in the ESCO capacity issue is a major problem is just only maybe on the business capacity or financial capacity. Next is innovative financing structures. We are reviewing that in this driver key, this is stagnant right now. After a few years, we have a lot of discussion by financial sectors, regulators, monetary authorities, or the stakeholder. We already have a long discussion, but innovative financing structure is still stagnant. The indicator is there is no lot of ESCO constructed or installed by a third party or direct financing from bank to ESCO. If there is a self-trapping model or bank to the energy user, if there is a guaranteed saving model. As I told you that mostly in the developed like in the region is the preferable model for the customer is self-trapping. So we can see that also for the ESCO, direct loan or direct financing to the ESCO from banks is still very limited. There is no growth for the ESCO, especially if we are talking about the large scale project. In one side and in another side is if we are talking about medium and small size of the ESCO, there is a classical problem of the bank point of view is to comply banking requirement, especially for the collateral or the equity portion. So this quite stagnant is very challenging us to have an extra effort to solve it. Next is market transformation, also should be driven by regulators. I think we are on the same spirit with the regulator, how to support our ESCO developed by market transformation, by regulation, and we still keep looking for the opportunity to regulate some of the transformation in energy user. The main one of the main regulation that is also market transformation is driven is already improving is the regulation that energy user more than 6,000 TOA, town equivalent oil, should we have a manager, energy manager, and should we have a energy efficiency and conservation effort for that. That is example for the new the regulation that's already, but we need more than that. Another is about human resource, improve the manager energy capacity. This very good. I can say that in this key driver, government and also non-government states is have a good program for that. So certified manager, energy IGA auditor is growing every year. And the last but not least is the provide the incentive and subsidy. This we also have to conclude that this is still stagnant for us. And I know and understand that government or the regulators still keep trying to find the proper incentive or subsidize in this current situation. It is some of the incentives stipulated on the regulation on the PP number 70, but of course, as the entrepreneurs, we see that we need more than that. So we have discussion with the proposed to the regulation to give more attention over this. In terms of all the regulation that we need to improve or to support the ESCO, this space is this space we want to share to you. What is the mapping of the Indonesian energy authorities in terms of the in the sector of the renewable energy efficiency and conservation, electricity, coal, our mining and oil and gas. This picture is the authority that we will face or we will deal discussion to improve the regulation. I put here to more understanding, to more give more understand for the all ESCO stakes that indeed this is a chain the challenges, but at least we already identify and we already counterpart on the picture, clear picture mapping, the authority we have to discuss. Outside of this energy authority, there is a financial authority that we also have to speak with them. The financial authority, under the financial authority, there is a banking industry, leasing industry, every financial product, including insurance. So this is the latest product that I would like to discuss. Also, maybe to have some comment from Pak Tom in US. In this space, I would like to share the exploring source of eco fund internally and externally, but not but least is the race allocation that we need now, and we still have lack of race allocation mechanism in Indonesia. This is, I think, Pak Tom, this is the main issue, one of the main issue that we need all the ESCO state should be developed together. Race allocation based on our ESCO concept is it will be technical insurance, okay? Technical risk guarantee and credit risk guarantee. Technical risk guarantee can be covered to ESCO and technology provider. So to be frankly, we already discussed with the people from the financial sectors, and there is no product sufficient to make risk allocation mechanism very simple. Do you know, we all understand, and do you know well that as the new model, business model, the guarantee performance is very important in one side, and the other side, okay, about the credit guarantee is okay. It's another issue that another credit guarantee is a common, it's already common product in the market. The problem may be just only to increase the size of the capacity of the credit insurance to go up. But the technical performance insurance, this is the main challenge. It's very difficult, and myself also it's still difficult to how we deal with the party who can submit or can provide the technical performance guarantee. I can understand if many people who want to deal with in ESCO models need this guarantee, and who will let's say responsible to develop, responsible to create in the early stage like this. If this technical performance guarantee product available in the market, I believe the structure of the ESCO model, including the financial model, it will be a lot developed if we can solve this case. It is not simple, but it is possible to link up insurance, local insurance and offshore insurance to back-to-back guarantee, something like that. And I see also possible for the original manufacturer of the technology also issuing the performance guarantee. So manufacturers guarantee the performance, and the manufacturer performance guarantee should be conferred by the insurance company, and the insurance company will issue the technical risk insurance that's bank accept under the financial as a financial instrument. this is the one issue that I want to, and it's interesting to discuss on this space. And the last space, but not least, is I would like to introduce Indonesia ESCO Association, Indo. Now we have 20 registered members, but we believe a lot of ESCO company now is still on the market. It's not our member, but they are doing also ESCO business. And as maybe Pak Alec in the morning mentioned, Indo is now is a part of the Asia Pacific ESCO Industry Alliance, and as Asia Pacific Alliance linked to the global ESCO network. With this, with joining the Asia Pacific Alliance and global network and ESCO, Indo want to contribute as maximum, because we are one of the big market in the regions that we need to develop the industry, the ESCO industry. This is I highlight some of the product that Indo member can serve to the customers and the company, and adapting to the challenging after Indo joining in the Asia Pacific. Indo will have a consolidated program in the next few months. Be more ready, or to be more and powerful in terms of the member scope, services, and solidity of the association, because we knew that it's a big challenging and big opportunity in the head futures. I think that's all my presentation, Pak Tom, and back to you.
Great. Well, thank you. Yeah, I've got some answers to some of your questions, but I don't want to detract from the other presenters. I will answer just a couple very quickly, and then open it up for the floor later. And if there's time, I'm happy to expand on my response. So you asked, what about the energy savings insurance in the U.S.? And it was very prevalent. Chubb Insurance provided it 25 years ago to the U.S. ESCO industry, and they provided it specifically to provide credibility, because the ESCOs were doing the guaranteed savings model, wanted to do that because it's very difficult for them to get project financing on their own, small balance sheets, service companies like here, but yet they did not have the financial capability to back up the guarantee. So the energy savings insurance came into play. But the problem was that it only lasted about 5 years, because ESCOs would use it once or twice, and then they would not, once they gained the credibility in the marketplace, they would quit using it. So the energy savings insurance, I think, was not marketed properly. It was marketed just to the ESCO industry, which was in the US was a relatively small part of the segment of the market. So I think it plays a much potentially bigger role here. I think it's a huge game changer. I call it a game changer. I think that's the game changer here in Indonesia to open up a lot of markets. But I still stand true to my point about we've got to have the government sector come in to scale up everything. Without scale, you don't get the interest of the banks, you don't get the interest of capacity building. You need scale, right? And financing and financing products are very attractive, but frankly speaking, when I've gone to industrial customers, I've had the money at very cost-effective rates, and they're just not interested in doing it, even shared savings deals, because their attitude is that they don't understand the energy efficiency. They don't know how the savings is going to be achieved. But what they do know is that I've been doing it a while, and I probably do understand it, and they're not going to be equipped to challenge me when I bill them for savings. And so they feel like it's a high risk, even on a shared savings basis. So they're about them actually realizing savings. So I think bringing in a third party, like an energy savings insurance, and that should be provided, I think, by insurance companies, local credible insurance company. So I could go on and on, but just to give you a highlight, I'm totally in agreement with you on the insurance being the right solution to one of the bigger barriers of lack of confidence and knowledge in the marketplace. So I'm going to stop there and then go to our next speaker, who's Eva Pitterling. I've known her for quite a while here. We've worked together on several capacity building programs, and and she's going to talk about one of the barriers you talked about, which was the human capital and human challenges and some of the technical gaps. Eva's is project management, project management, international sales coordination for TÜV Nord, PT TÜV Nord. So I'll leave it to you, Eva, please.
I should turn off my microphone, I think. So good morning, everyone. I think it's still before lunch, so can still say good morning. And first of all, thank you very much to Masqué to open the opportunity for me to speak about the human challenges and the technical gaps of ESCOs and energy efficiency projects in general. So let me see if I can share my screen. I tried to do that. I hope you can already see that my second my screen.
We're good.
Okay, good. Thank you. So, but it's not moving. Oh, it is. Sorry. So just briefly talking about TÜV Nord for the ones who are not familiar with our company. So as Tom said earlier, my name is Eva Pitterling. I'm working for TÜV Nord for the last 10 years now, starting off with development projects, especially in the field of energy, focusing on energy efficiency, and now being in charge of international business development for Asia Pacific. And TÜV Nord, as a German company, is present in over 70 countries with more than 10,000 employees and quite range of subsidiaries in Asia Pacific. And talking about Indonesia, we have been established in 2002 and have in the meantime over 180 employees. With laboratory inspection, testing facilities, then of course certification and verification. So just a brief overview of our services. I mean, you probably know all the ISO certifications. The most important one or the most relevant one here to mention is the ISO 50001, which is the energy management certification. That was already mentioned by several previous speakers. So we have been the first entity in Indonesia in, I think, 2012 actually, to certify the first companies against this national standard. And first of all, I would like to talk about some technical terms. So all these have been mentioned before, but I think it's very important to clarify the difference between an energy audit, an energy management system, energy managers and energy auditors. So the energy audit as such is giving the baseline of the energy use, and then of course it is needed for regular verification. So this is the energy audit should be the actual measurement of the energy use, of course, taking into account invoices, etc., from the energy use. And then the energy management system, as said earlier, is the system according to ISO 50001. I mean, you probably also know the ISO 9001 as the quality management system or other management system. So that's the system in place. And as mentioned earlier, we have certified energy managers. I think 380 are now on the list of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. So they have been certified against the ESCO, the national professional standard for energy managers, and also energy auditors. There are more than 600 on the list. So I put you the link to the website on my presentation, so you can check for names and when they have been certified, etc. So this is a very comprehensive list maintained by the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources. So those are all the technical competences, but the question is, can they provide bankable reports for energy efficiency projects so that they can be implemented in an ESCO scheme, in an energy service contract? So for that, we will need some additional skills, which are the investment grade energy auditors, that can do investment grade energy audits. And this is something I really would like to talk about, because this is something that is not so clear to all stakeholders, that is not so clear in the market. So the investment grade energy audit is providing comprehensive measurement and analysis. So it's a lot more than a regular energy audit, which just gives the baseline of the energy use, and is more a technical audit. And so therefore, the investment grade energy auditors, they have the technical and financial expertise to really provide those bankable reports. So talking more about energy audit as such, first of all, defining the relevant energy uses, and then doing some measurement on the energy usage. That means really establishing meters, reading meters, or having a metering system in place that is really giving you real data. So from the raw data, you do the analysis of the energy data and provide a report on the energy usage. And of course, your energy audit or your energy use needs regular measurement, continuous measurement, to verify the baseline step by step. So, and this continuous analysis is improving your energy performance. And this is what you actually want to have. I mean, if you start an energy efficiency project, you really want to see what is improving over the time. How much is your energy bill reducing, and how much is your cost reducing in the end? And then talking about the energy management system, this is the flow chart of mostly any kind of management system. So you would start with a stage 1 audit. So first of all, you start with the manual and the procedures. So you establish all that in the management system. Then we, as the certification body, do the stage 1 energy audit. Then the question is, do you have any non-conformancies? If so, then you will need to have some corrective actions if they are major. And then you go for the stage 2 audit. Again, if you have major non-conformancies, you do your corrective actions, you do the follow-up audit, and then you get the certificate. Then you do yearly surveillance audits, and then after 3 years, you do a recertification audit. So this is the management system, and this is referring to your baseline from the energy audit. So you definitely need an energy audit prior to establishing your energy management system. And now talking about the investment grade audit. That's a bit of a different approach, because the foundation and the reason why you would do an investment grade audit is you want to create a bankable energy efficiency project. So that means you will need critical data for potential projects. And these critical data cannot be only based on technical aspects. It also have to take into consideration economical facts and risk. So you need documented details of saving potentials and also cost estimates. And you see that this is a quite different approach from a regular energy audit. And the evaluation will not only be an analysis, but it will be an evaluation for the project owner, for potential investors, and for other relevant stakeholders. So it's a lot more you have to provide than just from a regular energy audit. And this investment grade audit is actually the first essential step for a successful start of an energy efficiency project. And then the next step, what you also need to do or take into consideration if you do an investment grade audit is the measurement and verification. So who will be in charge of that? You need a regular evaluation. Who will be in charge of that? So the essential second step for successful implementation will be the measurement and verification and the regular evaluation, so that for the course, for the time of the energy saving contract, you will have to be clear about your measurement and verification and about your savings that you do have over the period of time during your contract. So, and as I said earlier, the investment grade auditor, the SIGA, is combining technical and financial competencies for a more accurate report. So you're analyzing the estimated savings for potential projects of technical and economical facts and risks. You calculate potential costs of saving potentials and you estimate the cost. And therefore you can provide bankable reports for decision makers. So I think that's what you can do if you are an investment grade auditor. So we did a SIGA training some time ago. I think Tom mentioned it in the morning session that 2019 we did the course. So in general, we are planning to do more courses. Who can join? Definitely energy auditors, energy consultants, ESCO professionals, more or less anybody who has a sound technical knowledge for energy audits. The duration is 3 days. The exam is an additional day, and you will need 70% to pass, or higher, of course, at least 70%. And the certification is valid for 3 years. So this was our first group of certified investment grade energy auditors. I think several of them are in work and they are providing investment grade energy audits. And yeah, so this is all from my side. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
Okay, are there any questions? I don't see any. I would just add one thing, that Eva is going to go into more detail in the capacity building session following this, right? Starting at 1 p.m. You're going to go into the SIGA in a little bit more detail this afternoon at 1 p.m.
Yes, definitely. And the challenges, the obstacles that we have seen during the last years by energy audits that have been provided and are not so, or have not been bankable.
I mean, yeah, one of the, of course, my company's evaluated several IGAs, and one of the biggest gaps I saw in the marketplace was, in their IGAs was just not even addressing the measurement and verification of savings. It didn't even address it. Wasn't even on the radar screen. So I know we've got our next speakers coming up who's going to talk about that, Denny from Evo. So he'll be able to chat with me and hopefully provide some knowledge about that gap in the marketplace. But beyond that, is there any real other significant major gap that you see, Eva, that is probably more dominant than any others in the marketplace?
Well, I think besides the skills, I think especially in the skills, I can say that several energy auditors are just look only on the technical side of the projects, and they don't have any economical background to really take into consideration interdependencies and the whole cost structure of interests that are coming up, of inflation that is has to be considered, because those contracts are not only just a one-time contract, one-time payment, but it is considering several years. And this is something that is really, or most energy auditors are not aware of, because they're just technical people. They have no knowledge about the economics behind the projects.
Yeah, just to echo that, when I first came here, there were several audits that were being presented to bankers that had been done. And I was sitting in the audience, and it was talking about the focus on technical only. And so the presentation was focused on, you know, the going from a 1.2 to 0.6 kW per ton chiller and the benefits of it and the lower heat and all this stuff. And these are bankers, right? And I'm sitting here thinking there's no way they understand that. What they want to know is how much money do you want to borrow and how much cash flow is going to be generated from the project, right? That's what they wanted to know. And it was quite interesting, a big gap in terms of what they were presenting versus what the audience would have understood or was interested or what was interested in. So I agree with you. That's a big gap in the marketplace. So any other questions? I see a question up. Let's see what this one is. This is the IGA training free?
What is free? Well, we do not provide,
if not, at what price per if not, at what price per training?
Well, yeah,
I'll let you address that.
It depends on the number of participants. If you can,
but it's still not free, right?
It's not free, and if you can bring 20 participants, then the price per person will not be so high. But you have to consider it's an international certificate that you will get. So this is all coming from Germany, and they charge accordingly. So yeah, and we have tutors, we have trainers, we have assessors. So it's nothing we can provide for free of charge. I mean, if you can find a donor, a sponsor, then as we did for the first one, it was sponsored by the Asian Development Bank. Then of course it is free of charge, but yeah, we cannot do that free of charge. I mean, it's a market, right?
Yes, and I know Mosque is looking to really support several subsequent SIGA events coming up in the next years, and I would like to give you a price, but I don't want Pa John getting angry with me establishing his pricing scheme. So I'm gonna pass on that one, but I would say it's less than it's probably not as much as you might anticipate. It's not as yeah. I just have to not give you a number. I'm sorry, I can't do that, but maybe. No. Maybe in private, you can ask Pa John, and he might tell you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Just give us a message, and then depending on the situation, we can talk about the pricing.
Right. Okay. So, thank you for the question. I got a number 2 question came up. Maybe this is a follow-on question. What about the training schedule and fees? I think the fees we talked about. I'm just going to jump in real quickly, and the schedule is unknown at this time. I know Pa John and Mosque are looking to try to schedule something in this year, but we lost a whole year because of COVID, right? Year and a half almost. We had really planned to roll it out in 2020, and we're unable to do it.
Yeah, we should consider doing it online, but we all know the effectiveness of online trainings is not the same as it is in real life training, where people are really, they have to be present. It's not with these online conferences where you can be present. So, and we have to ensure that they really know, that they really get the most out of it. And also the exam is something that is, yeah, not so easy to do, because we will require a real investment grade audit from your side. So we really will consider your inputs on the economic parts of the energy audit. So that's also something that needs to be done properly.
Great. Okay, so now it's time for Denny Tangwa, who's Executive Director of the Efficiency Evaluation Organization, which Babanu and a couple others have referred to. Alex referred to. It's an international entity. I don't want to steal his thunder, but he's Executive Director. I think you've been there like 5 or 6 years, Denny. I'm not sure. We interviewed him down in Singapore. It was really a great trip for him to come in for 2 days from the U.S. and but he's done a great job and is our executive director. So, Denny, why don't you help us understand why M&V is important and how it can play a big part in the ESCO industry?
Sure. Thanks, Tom. I'm going to try to make it clear. And it's been 5 years last week that I've joined EVO. Thank you for the interview. I'm really enjoying my time here. So let's see, do you see my presentation on the screen?
Yes, we do. You probably need to open it up in presentation form, though. It's only half showing. Like the bottom 20% is not showing on mine.
Okay, I'm not an expert in these things.
If you go down to right hand, there's a little place to click down at the bottom.
Oh, I have the PDF. That's why. Just bear with me a second. Okay, just hold on a second. I will open the. Sorry about that.
No worries.
I'll just open the. Whoa. And 1 second, I'm opening the PowerPoint now.
So it's your 12:30, is that right? After midnight?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, really appreciate you staying up so late.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay, let's try to share again. So share screen, PowerPoint, share. Now, how does that look?
Much better.
Okay.
So
excellent.
Carry on.
Okay. So thanks again for the invitation to briefly discuss about the M&V challenges in ESCO. Maybe a few words about EVO first. EVO is the home of the IPMVP, the International Performance Measurement and Verification Protocol. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year, and the IPMVP itself is celebrating its 25th anniversary. And as I said a few minutes ago, I'm celebrating my 5th anniversary at EVO. The vision of EVO is to create a world that has confidence in energy efficiency as a reliable and sustainable energy resource. And I guess the two important words here are reliable and sustainable. These are the essential basis for what we do essentially in M&V. And the mission is to ensure that the savings and the impact of energy efficiency and sustainability projects are determined through appropriate measurement and verification procedures through a standardized framework, essentially. Briefly, the IPMVP, it's owned by EVO, as I just said. It was created in 1996 by a group of international engineers. And basically, the objective at the time was to reduce the uncertainty in measuring and verifying energy savings and energy efficiency projects. The IPMVP is globally recognized as the generally accepted principles for reliably measuring and verifying savings of unused EEPs. And it represents a framework of definitions and guidelines on methodologies for assessing and measuring savings and creating M&V plans of energy efficiency projects. The M&V is essentially the meter of an energy efficiency project. And what's important here is that it's a process, and it includes the planning, measuring before and after, collecting and analyzing data for the purpose of verifying and reporting the savings within an individual facility resulting from implementation of energy savings measure. This is an important point that the IPMVP and the M&V that we do is really focused on individual facility. This is not organization level verification like the ISO 50001. So it's really a bottom-up approach. So it's project by project and individual facilities and sometimes specific energy efficiency measures themselves. And M&V, what the IPMVP requires to calculate achieved savings with any degree of accuracy and reliability. One of the challenge, well, there are some challenge, many challenges actually with M&V. But the determining energy saving is unique because savings come from the absence of energy use. Essentially, we're trying to measure something that does not exist. The lack of energy consumption cannot be measured. So essentially what we're doing is that we are determining the savings by analyzing the measured energy use after the implementation of an energy conservation measure versus an energy baseline, which is essentially the consumption of a technology that was replaced by the energy efficiency project. So the baseline is extremely important in MNV, as this is the basis to which we will determine the energy savings. Dealing with uncertainty, as I said, we're never 100% sure about the exact energy use before and after. And there's always some uncertainty in both, and there is absolutely no correct saving number. There will always be uncertainty. So the question for the ESCO and the customer is to decide how much uncertainty you want to accept or you're ready to accept or afford in a project. And each owner finds its own balance between reporting uncertainty and cost for each project. So it's really a decision that has to be made on a project basis. We often have the comments about the cost and accuracy trade-off for each project. The norm is usually that you will invest, I don't like the word expenditure that we have here, but you would invest less than 10% of the savings in doing or performing the measurement and verification of a project. In an ESCO project, it's usually 3 to 5% of the savings that is invested in MNV. And some people would talk about 0% investment, which is deemed savings, essentially the equivalent of flipping a coin or just discussing between two parties saying, well, I guess the savings are this or no, they are that, and they agree on something based on no evidence at all. And this is what we call deemed savings, and this is not an IPMVP method. And by no means this is something that should be used in an ESCO project, never. One comment on the cost of MNV, and I got that question 2 weeks ago, and because somebody told me, well, it's very expensive, and I said, well, if you do nothing, you're not going to make any savings, and you're not going to save any money. So if you invest in energy efficiency and you're saving, and you're investing part of those savings in MNV, you cannot lose. So it's a win-win situation. So regardless that it's 2, 3, 5, 10, even 15% of a project, you cannot lose. So cost of MNV should not be an issue. The challenge of MNV in ESCOs in particular is that the ESCO is guaranteeing the savings in the projects, and the ESCO must manage the risk mainly at 3 levels. The first one is development, and the second during the construction, and the third one is the performance. In the development stage, this is what we call in MNV the baseline period. This is where you will define the baseline energy consumption. Construction is called the implementation period, and performance, of course, performance period. And it's very important that MNV is performed at the 3 levels of those risk areas. In the baseline, essentially, it's as I said earlier, it's a critical component of MNV, and the main point is that you cannot go back in time and reevaluate the baseline once the project is implemented, because the baseline no longer exists. The old equipment is not there. You cannot accurately determine the energy consumption of something that was removed from a facility. So it's very important that the MNV principles are applied at the baseline level during the planning phase. more specifically on performance risk, there are a number of areas of performance risk. One of them is saving shortfall that the ESCO must manage, and the client as well. The persistence of saving as well is an extremely important point. We've seen some ESCO projects where the client and the ESCO have agreed after 1 year of MNV that, okay, we've done it 1 year, we know we have savings, and therefore we don't need to spend money on MNV for the rest of the contract duration. Well, this is not a good practice. MNV should be performed throughout the duration of the performance period, whether it's 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. It's very important that you do that on an annual basis. And just to give you one example, it's the COVID situation that we had last year and that we're still having. It did made a major differences in ESCO contracts. And if you have to stop doing MNV during that period, well, you don't know what kind of savings you're having with this major disruption in energy consumption because you have not continued your MNV practice. Other risks are you could have technical problems and host performance as well due to data maintenance and delays in payments and so on. So these are all risks that performance risks that need to be managed by the parties involved in a project. The main objective of MNV, therefore, is to reduce those risks. So it's critical to the success of the project. As I said a few minutes ago, it maximizes the persistence of saving over saving agreement term. So you do it throughout the term, it's very important. And it verifies the savings achieved and valued in energy savings agreement. So this is the best way to reduce performance risk with MNV. Other benefits, the IPMVP benefits actually. So when you're using the IPMVP, you're essentially applying guidelines and savings that are globally recognized. And you include those practices in MNV plans. One of the benefit of the IPMVP is the use of standardized terminology that everybody understands, and it is transparent. It is translated in MNV plans, and anybody anywhere in the world can understand this, an MNV plan because it's all based on the same language, which is the IPMVP. The IPMVP also provides the body of knowledge for MNV professional. I think Tom might have mentioned the Certified Energy Savings Verifier program, which is using actually a SIGA that Eva just mentioned, and the Certified Measurement and Verification Professional, the CMVP program that EVO has with the AEE in the United States. And the IPMVP essentially provide legitimacy to ESCO industry by using internationally recognized energy savings calculation methods. And that was essentially the reason why the IPMVP was originally created was to have a common set of rules and standards that everybody will recognize. And that's how the ESCO industry was legitimized. What do we have within the IPMVP? Well, we have essentially 4 options, A, B, C, D. It could have been 1, 2, 3, 4, but I don't know. It's basically A, B, C, D. And there are 2 sets of options. The first 2, option A and option B, relates to what we call retrofit isolation. And essentially, you're interested under those 2 options with the implementation of a specific energy efficiency measure. For example, it could be the replacement of lighting equipment, could be the replacement of a motor, a chiller, or a very specific measure. In the other 2 options, option C and option D, you're interested in the energy impact of of an energy efficiency project on the whole facility. So essentially, that's a visual representation of the different options. So option A and B are retrofit isolation. Here we have the example of isolating a motor or a set of motors with a meter that is installed around this boundary of a specific retrofit. While if you're interested in the whole facility with a whole bunch of energy efficiency measures, you will be essentially using the meters at the whole facility, either the gas meter just written on the left side, or the electric meter from from the utility. That's another way of representing the same same information. If on how to choose an MNV option. You basically need to decide what you're concerned about. If you want to assess a particular retrofit, as I said, you go with retrofit isolation method. If you want to manage your total energy use, again, within a facility, not throughout an organization, you will use the whole facility method. Again, a little bit more detailed information. It's repetitive. I forgot to remove this one, but maybe one point to highlight on the retrofit isolation is that essentially the savings are not affected usually by changes that are being done beyond the measurement boundary. And it usually requires a dedicated meter, as I said earlier. And adjustment can be simple as well. So option A and option B are relatively simple and usually less costly. So these are good options if you don't want to invest too much in your MNV. And whole facility, you're interested in measuring all the effects in the facility. And this is where if you have a lot of interdependencies or interactive effects, you will almost necessarily look at option C or option D, mostly option C, to analyze the effects of energy efficiency measure, and your MNV will be concerned with these interactive effects, and you will be using the utility meter, as I said earlier. So this one is repetitive. I'm sorry. Whoops. It went forward. Okay. So just highlighting a few more details on the different options. In option A, you essentially measure one key parameter, and you will assume or select some estimated values for the other parameters affecting the energy consumption. What's important here, and it's important for all four options, is the documentation of the source or justification of the estimated value. So if you're making assumptions on estimations or on whatever you're assuming, or even what you're measuring, it's important to document within the MNV plan what you're doing and how you're going to do to perform the MNV throughout the performance period. Under option B, you're measuring not only one key parameter, but all important variables within that could affect the energy consumption when you're replacing an equipment. So it's that's where it's not highlighted here, but it's a proxy variable, so it's really plural. So you're making multiple measurements. In option C, again, whole facility, and it's continuous measurements throughout the reporting period. And again, the reporting period can last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. It's essentially the term of the contract. And you're using essentially the utility meter to perform this measurement. And in option D, you're simulating the energy consumption of the whole facility. This is relatively complex. most people will do that if they have good skills in doing calibrated simulation. We've seen a lot of people use that for projects where they lack an appropriate baseline because there was no utility bills, or for whatever reason they could not establish a significant baseline. So they are essentially using this option to simulate what the energy consumption would have been, and they are using that as a benchmark to do their MNV after the implementation of measures. All this is done through an MNV plan, whether it's option A, B, C, or D, and a plan will be deemed adherent to IPMVP if it contains information on the 14 points or elements shown on the screen. Essentially, the purpose of the MNV plan is to, well, first of all, provide a kind of a guidebook to what was done in the implementation of an energy efficiency measure, but also provides a reference book if staff is removed from the job or goes somewhere else and it's replaced and you're losing the historical information because the person who was responsible for the project is gone. If you have a very well-designed plan, you can just go back to the plan and say, okay, this was done in this year, in this facility, the intent was so-and-so, and we have all the necessary information to continue and understand the project, how the MNV is supposed to be done, all the hypotheses on energy prices, meter specification, the budget, the expected accuracy, and the quality assurance. So the plan is really essential when you do MNV. Without a good plan, you cannot go back and be, well, it's a good way to reduce uncertainty on the project and manage this uncertainty as well. In conclusion, no MNV means deemed savings, high uncertainty, and again, this is not IPMVP compliant. MNV is a key component of success for energy efficiency projects. I think it was the basis for the development of the IPMVP 25 years ago, and it's more relevant than ever, I think. It helps, MNV helps, ensures the persistence of savings over time. It gives you the guidelines to do that and the framework. Remember that each energy efficiency project is different and must be analyzed on its own merit. There is no, well, you cannot apply MNV with I'm looking for the word here, but it's, yeah, you need a sound framework and do it project by project. You cannot make hypotheses on, well, I did a building similar last year, so this building will react the same way. It doesn't work like that. The MNV cost should be consistent versus the desired savings, as I said earlier. But again, you're going to save money, so I would say that money should not be an issue. Of course, you don't want to spend all your savings on MNV, but invest whatever is relevant for the purpose or the reason why you're doing an energy efficiency projects. And again, the MNV is providing legitimacy to the ESCO industry by using a standardized set of calculation methods and references. Thank you. Hopefully I clarified some of the mysteries of MNV.
You did. Thank you, Denny. Just a couple of pieces I wanted to highlight that I see in the marketplace and in gaps, and that is the importance of baseline. I mean, the baseline is probably the least understood how important that is, and it's critical to IPMVP, MNV, but it's also critical to an ESCO project. If you don't have that, you really have no basis for estimating savings, and I know that's a big piece of the IPMVP right? It's really spend a lot of time on adjusting baseline and everything, right?
Correct. And again, if you don't do it at the planning stage, you cannot go back in time.
Yeah,
so
you can't.
It's
exactly. And
it's
the other one
foundation of MNV.
It is. It's the core, and it's also, but it's also the core of any EE project, of IGAs or anything. It's the baseline. It's really the gap I see in the marketplace from quote unquote energy audits that are done. They don't really link the actual utilization of the energy to the and reconcile it to the operations of the facility. In other words, rationalize. Here's how much energy is being used where. You kind of do a modeling of you. Right, 60% of your electricity is being used for this, but then you have to reconcile that to the actual operations and the actual consumption, the actual bills. And I think I just wanted to point that out as a big piece of the gap I see. But it's critical, and it's right it's at the core element of IPMVP and MNV. And the other one that you mentioned, which I just can't quit saying it enough, is that M&V is the meter of an energy efficiency project. You know, it's like having a renewable energy project without a meter measuring how many kilowatt hours are produced, and yet you want to know what the return is. I mean, if you don't have M&V, you really have no basis for reliably knowing how much financial benefit is being gained from the investment. So anyway, that would be my 2 big points out of your overall thing. You had many good ones. Those are the 2 that I see that's.
Oops, can you hear me, Tom?
Oh.
I thought I froze. I think it's Tom.
I think we've lost Tom, I guess.
I thought it was my computer that
yeah, I also thought it was mine. I'm taking my notes, so. Well, thank you so much. That was really impressive, and it's a good continuation to my presentation from the SIGA and the energy audit to the totally necessary MNV if you want to do a successful ESCO program.
Yeah, it's the basis. Yeah. And again, you cannot do an ESCO project based on deemed savings because one day or another it will blow up in your face. Because
well, actually, I've seen audits being done on estimations of energy use. So because meters are expensive, right? So you just estimate the use in this specific equipment.
Well, if you're able to measure at least one thing, at least you have a technical basis to calculate or to determine the savings. But if there is no calculation whatsoever, then it become one big hypothesis, and that's not, well, I mean, that's not IPMVP compliant or adherent.
You are actually already on the second step saying the calculation. I'm the step before on the measurement. If you don't measure, then you just calculate estimations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Hey, Banu, what do you say? I think we've lost our host.
Yeah. I want to ask something. Maybe should we continue to the SMI?
I lost my power. My apologies. In my apartment. Welcome back to Jakarta. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
But Danu, what did you want to say?
Sorry, Banu.
No,
go ahead.
It's all right. Tom already back. So I just want to propose to continue to Pak Delano in SMI. But it's back to you. Back to you,
no, I want to introduce him. I was extremely intrigued by 2 things on his CV. You know, number one, he's an attorney. That's really interesting. And you're in charge of product development, right? At PTSMI is what your CV says. That's interesting for an attorney to be over that. Perhaps we can have a side conversation on that. But then the second thing is your experience seems to be very much on public-private partnership, right? On all the infrastructure stuff. So both of those are fairly unique, and but we're very keen to hear what your thoughts are on the funding and financing challenge. But I just wanted to highlight those what I consider to be rather unique qualifications. So Delano, please, I know you're filling in for Pa Darwin. Please start your presentation, and my apologies for the delay.
Thank you, Tom. And thank you also for Pak Banu, Eva, Denise, for your good presentation. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting us on this event. I'm Delano. I'm head of Project Development Division in PT SMI. Currently, as requested by the organizer, we will share our experience in financial challenge for ESCO energy efficiency in Indonesia. Next slide. Yes, just want to introduce PT SMI. So we are state-owned enterprise, 100% owned by the government of Indonesia through the Ministry of Finance. Our role is to link, so we are in the middle of the source of funds in the left side and the sectoral focus on the right side. In the source of funds, we have capital injection from government of Indonesia, capital markets, loans and grants, asset sales and other income, and from Sharia source, we have Sharia capital market, BPJS, Haji, and sovereign wealth fund. In Indonesia, the sectoral on the right side needs financing from the left side. That's why SMI is established with the three pillars. The first pillar is for financing investment. So we provide loan from senior loan, junior loan, mezzanine, Sharia financing, and also we provide municipal loan financing. So we can give debt to the local government of Indonesia. And the second pillar, we have advisory services. So we can help private SOE and other institutions to raise financing from the source of funds and other financing arranger, etc. And what we are doing, what am I doing in project development in this third pillar? So we do many PPP projects. We do also geothermal activities. We do renewable energy project development and also energy efficiency, and also project preparation for municipal financing, because many municipal financing proposals need to be enhanced the project preparation. It's project preparation, and we do also capacity building and technical assistance for all stakeholders in Indonesia to implement project financing. Next. I think this slide is has already mentioned from Pak Banu and other speakers, I think, but no problem. I think for the energy efficiency in Indonesia, we note some opportunities, like the government offices, hospitals, and schools. If currently they consume about 5.4% for all electricity in 2019. If 25% energy efficiency reducts with 8-year payback equals potentially saving for 3.2 trillion and investment of 26.4 trillion in IDR. Also for public street lighting, it consumes about 1.5% of all electricity in 2019. And if the 50% reduction of energy efficiency from LEDs within 6 years, the calculation is about 2.7 trillion and investment of 15.9 trillion. However, as already mentioned by the previous speakers, they are challenged. They are challenged to get these opportunities. First is about the awareness, the knowledge about from the stakeholders or the market. The second one is enforcement. There is no incentive or disincentive for energy efficiencies. And also the size, lack of access about the sizable of the bankable projects in energy efficiency. So it's, some or many energy efficiency projects is not attractive enough for the lenders to take financing. Next is perceived financial risk. The project structure, project preparation, most of them is not robust enough. So there's still residual very high. So possibly cost increases and also risk of payment default. Low urgency, I think, is not like RE. If we compare to renewable energy, SMI did a lot financing on the mini hydro, solar, biogas, and water. But for energy efficiency, I think we need to give pressure for the urgency to make it more happen. And also capacity gap. If we talk about the public street lighting, maybe we will see, we will face the problem of local capacity, fiscal capacity of local government to implementing the energy efficiency projects. And existing business models may have not fully addressed those challenges in Indonesia, and limited access to project financing. Maybe in the local banks or local financial institution, they still have reserve to do the project financing. Next. And if we see as a government, because SMI role is in between government, private, market, and lenders, we see the starting point for doing the energy efficiency is from government side, the project owner. They have to be aware, they have to be try to start the energy efficiency projects. And what they have is, for the financing, they have about 6 alternatives for financing all infrastructure, including the energy efficiency. They have national budget if APBN. They have also APBD for local government budget. They also can assign state-owned enterprise, or in the regional area, they can assign the regional-owned enterprise. They can also access foreign loan and grants. They can do PPP, and they can do municipal loan for local government. I think that's the starting point for the next slides. Yeah, but before they try to start the energy efficiency projects, we see that some of projects is not feasible, bankable, and also have a legal uncertainty, and also there is limitation for the fiscal acceptability by the APBN or APBD, local state budget or state budget. And we see that how the investors or lenders' perspective to assess the proper energy efficiency projects to be financed by the project financing or PPP. We see that in the feasibility, there must be the proper robust assessment for the financial aspects, project structure especially, risk allocation, and some of projects that maybe have marginal feasibility needs government support. And if the user will pay the services, so the tariff also one of the key point that must be certain. Or if the project is very marginal, the government pay the availability payment, so there will be investor needs for the stable or certain availability payment during the concession period, and also technical specification, etc. And for the private perspective, also in lenders, DSCR, equity IRR, and government supports. And for the aspects influencing bankability, we note that for most aspects that we face, first is project owners' affordability, because sometimes if we do PPP, also in energy efficiency, for example, we help Surakarta government to in the project street lighting. they want to change all public street lighting in Surakarta agency. Sometimes they face a challenge for their fiscal capacity, so they cannot afford about economical or feasible IRR. It also over their limit to pay availability payment. And sector maturity of the project is another one, based on regulation framework. For example, in PPP or project financing, currently maybe the most mature sector would be toll road, electricity, and also water. But for other projects, we still need to find pilot projects, including energy efficiency. For energy efficiency, Surakarta will be our first PPP or project financing project. Hopefully, after this Surakarta project get done, financial close, construction, and operation, hopefully there will be more and more pipeline on energy efficiency sector. And also potential project risk from demand side, construction operations, and guarantee with project sponsors, because we think in Indonesia there will be still need for the limited recourse for the project sponsor. It is less likely to have non-recourse guarantee from the project sponsor. Next. Based on those challenges, I think SMI currently have initiative to make very diversified products and activities. For the commercial financing, we can do long-term financing, flexible financing scheme, innovative financing products, for example, cash deficiency support, takeout financing, and others. And also for the public sector financing, we do diversification from there too. First is regular public sector financing, and the second one is PEN. We help the government of Indonesia in the COVID-19 pandemic, so we deliver more support to local government as a PEN program. And also in relates to energy efficiency, since 2018 we developed the SDG Indonesia One program. In the later slide I will present more detail about the SDG Indonesia One, also for the Sharia financing in advice. And currently in PT SMI, all of financing and investment activities, currently we have the ESS standards. So all financing must be follow the requirement of ESS from PT SMI. In advisory services also, we have one-stop solution advisory from the business planning, project preparation, transaction advisor until financial close, and project development, especially for PPP development, we also have municipal financing, project development, and capacity building. Next. And this is for municipal energy efficiency, one of our main focus in all division, all directorates in PT SMI. And since 2 years ago, PT SMI already built a specified division to deal with renewable energy and energy efficiency. They can provide financing and also project development. Next. And this is PPP's exposure of PT SMI. I think about 20 more of 20 projects currently ongoing and experience. One of them for the energy efficiency, we have Surakarta City Public Street Lighting, and in 2021 we have I think two other public street lighting from local government projects. Next. And this is SDG Indonesia One platform. So This platform is new concept. We have partners, many partners, and the goal for this platform is to get 16 sustainable development goals. And for the priority sector, health education, renewable energy, and urban infrastructure, this platform consists of four products. First, if development facilities, so we can help projects, government, private, SOE, ROE to have SDG goals. So we can help them together with our partner on the project development activities. If the project needs the risking facilities, we also have partner AFD in Canada to provide the risking facilities of projects. We also have partners from the commercial banking, BCA, UOB, Standard Chartered for the financing facilities, and equity facilities also. So the total committed facility is estimated to be $3.3 billion currently, and hopefully it can be, deliver the goals to SMI also can execute all the mandate from our partners that already engaged with PT SMI, and we can make a scalable project to get SDGs goal. Next, I think the next one is how we commit to do energy efficiency. I think Tom is one of our team in this program. So UK government signed the cooperation with the government of Indonesia under the Mentari ASEAN law. They assigned Carbon Trust and EY. One of this program beneficiaries is SMI. Currently, is ongoing study to create 3 outputs model manual. First is for energy efficiency loan, energy efficiency risk framework, and also energy efficiency the risking products. I think that's all from for my presentation. Thank you very much. We'll get back to Tom.
Thank you, Pak Delano, and I'm delighted to see you got that EE slide in at the end, right? Because I'm the lead consultant, doing that under Carbon Trust. It's my company, EPS Capital, and what we're doing is we're basically plug and playing what I was successfully did at the Indonesia Exim Bank, and we just completed the product manual, and the plan is to get that approved on a pilot basis and get some pilot projects implemented under it, and assuming work out the kinks, and maybe we can roll it out and mainstream it, and then it'll be on your list of commercial products in the future. I hope that would be the plan. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That's I think a key potential element and role for SMI. I would just say one other thing, that on your PPP scheme, I mean, I've been working on it for years, 3-4 years, and in my opinion, the Surakarta example is one where, with all due respect, it kind of illustrates why the existing PPP scheme does not work for energy efficiency projects, right? It's been going on for over 3 years, and it's not because anybody's not trying. It's just it's a process for big greenfield toll roads, right? So it's got lots of processes, planning and preparation processes, totally not relevant. They're for greenfield, and EE projects are brownfield, right? So you're retrofitting. So there's lots of processes that are designed for the right reasons, but not for EE projects. And so, we're hoping we can get that modified with this PP70 regulation to modify those for EE projects. And then hopefully you'll be one of the first ones within SMI to utilize that streamlined process. I hope so. And the PPP with all your experience. Thank you very much. So I'll open the floor for questions. I think, Christy, my colleague, there's a question here in Bahasa. And Christy, do you want to give me or give us the English version of it? Can you get off your mute? Christy, are you there?
Yes. Yes, here the question is, that PT SMI is coming from Pak Cahyo Kartiko Gondokusumo. He's asking that PT SMI can only be useful for policy programs, a project, so that can be optimum privately. So, and then also KPK or Corruption Eradication Committee may not be coming.
So what was the question? The first question, you want to restate it? I didn't quite.
Yeah, I don't know whether it's a question or a statement actually, because it seems like a question. PTSMI will be useful for the policy programs and projects so that it can be optimum privately, and then KPK or Corruption Eradication Committee may not come or enter in that program. Yeah.
So, Pak Delano, you as an attorney, we're going to let you reply to that comment. How about that?
I think, okay, thank you, Pak Cahyo Kartiko. Maybe my answer is related to how SMI is established. Like my first slide, Indonesia have aggressive infrastructure needs to be built in all sectors, and there are source of funds available in the market. SMI establishment is to link the source of funds to the project needs. So we have some activities, we have some products in order to link those funds to the projects. And the outcome of this is to have more infrastructures available for the community in Indonesia. Regardless the financing is come from private, government, or international institution or others. Our goal is to link the source of funds from government or from anybody to the projects. So, so the goal is to make the project happen. And I think KPK can also audit us also, because we are also subject to state auditor, yeah. So I think because we are SOE, so I think we are open to any kind of feedback from all Indonesian institutions. Thank you.
Okay, good answer. I guess I have a question from to Pak Banu. You know, I noticed you talked about it, but you really didn't. It seemed like you believe the financing and the investment is the biggest barrier. And while I can't say it's not a barrier, it clearly is. I guess what I've said a couple times here is, from my experience, the barrier is creating demand. You know, and that's the biggest problem with the facility owners, the gatekeepers. You know, even if, because like I've said to you, I've provided funding and very cost-effective funding, and they're just not interested per se. They just don't understand it. They're not the complexities of learning the M&B to understand it, the savings. It's just an infrastructure investment. They don't want to fool with it. So I think, to me, and the capacity, the technical capacity, I think you have to create demand to scale it up. And then I think the financing is clearly something that has to be solved. But I think it's kind of like the chicken and the egg from my perspective. But that's just me, and that's why I create the government sector. I just kind of wanted to get your views on that. I'm not trying to persuade you so much as just to kind of just outline where we might be a little bit differing in terms of what the barrier is. If you'd like to comment.
Yes, Pak Tom. In terms of the financing and investment, in one side, I understand that we need and we wait governments or public sector will be have some of the solution, like quote unquote like that. But we are on the association. We generally not only we expected the initial project in the early stage of this industry like ESCO. It will be coming from government scale up, and for the scale up in the future need also governments supported. And I understand that under the cooperation and under the own national budget, government already do some of the initial project for ESCO. Like he already doing some of the large scale of the IGA project and supporting what they can do. But after all is a completion, and offering to the ESCO players, ESCO entrepreneurs to implement it or to take the project. That's another problem, and that's also be a problem until right now. Is because of this issue. We are on the association. Of course, it's not only thinking or expected from the government or the public market. We cannot wait. We will want to move, or as possible we can do or install in the private sector or at the whatever size, or what is the model that we can deal with the customer. As an entrepreneur, they will do move on that. I understand ESCO on the public sectors is really want to be have a compliance state by state. Understand for that, because this is the basic ESCO that we have to comply and follow, including the competence persons should be involved in the ESCO. But for the private market, we are in fact inside in the side that we facing more than that. So
okay.
I agree with you that you still I understand you still have a lot of effort and program in the future to fostering the public market.
Well, just to get scale, that's all. Just to get scale and demonstrate, create an industry for you, Opconindo. You know, that's what'll grow the industry.
Yeah, but let me one more about the technical insurance part that I issued in beginnings. We understand in United States also have a long track insurance industry. But in Indonesia, maybe insurance products, including the technical risk, to cover the technical risk, is not yet advantage than in Europe or in Indonesia. But in terms of this ESCO model, we need to spreading the product to establish the product. Because we're dealing with the ways that we have when we speak with the financial institution, they will be evaluate or we assess the project profile, customer profile, everything, and they want to see the risk mitigation, risk allocation for that. In technical insurance, is one of the mechanism that we still have a facing problem because of the product is not available. So now that's product really need now to boost or to fostering the market.
Yeah, I agree. That's clearly the the solution. And I will tell you, I'm working with a couple of multinationals or international multilateral financial institutions to try to develop that, because I'd worked in Mexico like 12 years ago, and we had the product developed through a national bank, but the national bank backed out at the last minute. But Mexico and Colombia is being done by the Inter-American Development Bank. They're doing ESI, energy saving insurance, but it's not what's needed. It's more of a surety guarantee of the efficiency of the chillers versus the financial guarantee that's needed. So, but I am personally working on a couple of potential ways to get that into the marketplace here in Indonesia, because I think that's the game changer. 100% agree with you, especially for private sector. Agreed. So there was another question. There's another question from, I saw Pasingi from EMI is here, right? To SMI. Yeah, you had a question, not from SMI, from EMI. And you had a question to the Padilano, right? But it's in Bahasa. I don't know if somebody can translate it.
Yeah, so Tom, the questions from Pak Singgi is that, is there any minimum size of project for EE or ESCO project to be approved, or at least can attract attention from PT SMI to be funded? As the information a few years ago, Pak Singgi's college ever discussed and then over the ESCO project to PT SMI, but then PT SMI have not yet approved or could not participate because the size of the project was small. It's around 1 to 2 billion rupiah. So that's a question.
Thank you. Please allow me to respond this question, Tom.
Sure.
Yes. Yes, Pak Singgi. Greetings also, Pak Singgi. And yes, I agree with you, Pak Singgi. This is one of main challenge for the energy efficiency projects about the size. There is no standard for minimum size of project to be financed by PT SMA. However, with regards to the cost of transaction, with big size of credit and small size of credit, we spend same cost of transaction. So I think from this consideration, we will make sure that the cost of transaction is much less than the size of the credit proposed by the debitor to us. So I think yes, for 1 until 2 billion, I think there is too far away from our capacity to finance because our cost may be higher than that. So I think that's my response, Pak Singgi. Greetings also, Pak Singgi.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments from other presenters?
Yeah. Pak Tom, can I have a comment to Pak Delano?
Absolutely.
That,
please.
Yeah. Okay. This is still relating to the Pak Singgi question. That this is also we are thinking in the association how to support the medium and small size of the ESCO business. And I believe in the introduced in international model is a super ESCO, but I still recognize that super ESCO is more promoting that governmentized program. In my opinion or my perspective, it should be not always just waiting for as a government program. I think maybe the state-owned company like SMI, we can discuss. I would like to have a discussion with SMI, with the association, how to
solve this challenge.
Elaborate for that.
Yes.
As a super ESCO. And in fact, it's not easy also to mobilize or to make to assign one or two state-owned company to as an ESCO because of the bureaucracy issue.
Yeah, I could just add something. Do you want to answer something, Pak Delani?
Yes, I agree with Pak Banu. I think we have to sit down together to find this the solution of this. Just my quick view on this. Maybe if there are several projects in one go, so we can manage the financing for several projects. So the size will be higher. But I don't know is it possible or not. But I agree with you. We have to sit together to find the solution about this challenge. Thank you.
Yeah. I would just like to highlight that, of course, the big super ESCO that's promoted is EESL in India, and what they've done is they created a government monopoly and destroyed. There is no private sector ESCO industry there because they monopolized the government agency. And I know, Pak Banu, that's not what you're interested in for Opconindo, right? So I think the form of aggregation is not so much super ESCO, because super ESCO, the problem that they did, they started self-implementing, okay? The super ESCO was originally supposed to be set up to fill gaps, get funding in for the private sector and everything, but then they started self-implementing, and that was where the big mistake occurred. So I think what's needed is an aggregation model, and it can be through the SPV. I think the PPP scheme has that fundamental potential structure, right, for aggregating financings under an SPV, right? So I think that might be the better way, and let the ESCOs implement through an SPV that is aggregating the financing of it, right? I think And that would be my suggestion, but try to stay away from any super ESCO where the government is actually self-implementing. It just creates a real, it just basically shuts out the government sector for the private ESCO market and defeats the purpose of what I think is creating a market.
Yeah, Pak Tom. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, so we've got 4 more minutes. Any other comments, closing comments from the speakers? You've got 1 minute each. Okay.
Tom, maybe I would like to also add comment to previous discussion about the PPP, Pak Tom.
Sure.
Because currently we are very close linkly with Ministry of Finance for the PPP support, PPP government support. I think in the near future, maybe Ministry of Finance will have the standard templates for the all PPP documents needs for the energy efficiency sector. For example, the RFQ, RFP, and also PPP agreement. Hopefully, it can be finished soon, so we can promote and multiplying the size of projects of energy efficiency in Indonesia. Thank you.
Okay, I hear you, but I hope we get some input into that. Okay, because I'm pretty sure that's under the current PPP scheme, okay? And it's not, it's where the municipality has to do all the development work, do the OCB and all the other things first, as opposed to the current process for ESCOs can come in and they'll do all that up front for significantly less cost. And it does not have to go through an IEB or independent business enterprise, which drives up the costs. I mean, to be very candid, when I'm working in the Denpasar project and we're trying to use the streamlined approach, and we found that our CapEx is about half of the solo project, and because we don't have all the extra costs involved, right? I mean, the processes are being thrown into the ESCO, the lighting vendor, but it's street lighting. And so I just hope we get a chance to provide input into that. I think it's great that they're doing that, but I'm not sure that it's incorporated all the development aspects, turnkey development aspects, and procurement streamlining needed for an EE project. That's all I'm saying, Banu. So if you're aware of that, I'm happy to invest a little time and give you some input on that if we have a chance to put some input into that. I think it might be useful.
Okay, Batam.
Perfect. Any other comments, Eva? Oh, no, who?
Yeah.
Somebody else was going to say something?
One question to Eva. Can I?
Sure.
Eva, you have a TOT certificate trainer or TOT trainer for trainer, because we are a big country that maybe want to a lot of spreading for the human resource skills.
We do not yet have the training for trainers because our trainers are still sitting in the US. So we have not updated a training for trainers. So, but that can be in the plan. If the demand for the SIGA is higher in Indonesia, then definitely that can be layouted. So, but so far it is still a US-based training supported by EVO and other US-based trainers.
Okay, clear.
Okay, well, we now have hit the 12:30 mark. Denny, you've been quiet. You got any quick comments, closing comments?
You're mute.
You're mute, Denny. Well, I would just like to thank you. It's his 1:30 a.m. It's his 1:30 a.m. on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, well, that's fine.
Or no, it's Monday. Or Wednesday, I'm sorry.
Right now it's Wednesday morning. Yeah, I was answering some of the questions on the in the panel. Somebody asked if there was available material on IPMVP, and I referred them to the generally accepted principle. But essentially, you can create a free account on EVO's website and access the full protocol. And I think there is an old version in Bahasa, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, no, I don't know where it's accessible. We had it translated about 4 years ago.
Okay, so it is on the EVO website. So you create a free account, you have access to the library, and it sits there in Bahasa.
Okay, well, thank all the panelists. I thank you very much for the really great presentations and thoroughness and responsiveness to the participants. And this does conclude the second half of the ESCO summit. And like we said, let's hope next year we've got some successes to share with everybody. So with that, I'll, as chair or moderator, whatever you want to call me, I'm going to close the session. And again, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
everybody. Thanks, Tom.
Everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Tom.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Pak
Again
Banu.
at 1 o'clock, yeah?
Dennis.
Yeah.
Salam kenal, Pak Banu.
Yeah, we start at 1 o'clock. By the way, at 1 o'clock following this is the little bit of capacity building on the SIGA and the CESV. If you want any more technical input on that, there were some questions, and I had shared that. I think we stay on this same program, right, or the same session, right? I think so.
Think
Starts in 30 minutes.
Okay, let's get
Thank
some
you.
lunch.
Yeah. Bye bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Terima kasih
Bye.
semua.
Kenapa kita harus berubah?
Indonesia terus bergerak cepat bersama roda ekonomi dunia. Sekarang saatnya beradaptasi, eranya bertransformasi. Tapi, kenapa masih ada yang ragu?
Digital, bukannya ribet ya? Emang usaha saya bisa diapain lagi pakai digital?
Sinkronisasi data pakai digital. Aman kah?
Untuk terus melesat, jadilah bagian dari perubahan sekarang juga. Saatnya bisnis Anda melesat bersama Telkomsel My Business. Partner terpercaya dengan rangkaian solusi digital. Untuk menunjang segala kebutuhan bisnis Anda menuju pencapaian yang lebih baik. Karena sekarang saatnya melesat.
Jadi gimana cuannya, Pak? Kalau saya sih baru aja beli emas. Nih, lumayan kan? Siapa tahu naik lagi, ya nggak?
Kalau saya sih nggak main emas, Pak. Saya mendingan main ini aja. Nggak nyangka, beli setahun yang lalu, malah jadi untung.
Kalau saya invest di tanaman hias aja, bisa beli berlipat cuannya.
Wah, pada tinggi-tinggi ya cuannya. Tapi kalau cuan aja nggak fleksibel, repot juga ya. Kalau aku sih cari cuannya di sini aja. Bunganya lebih tinggi dari tabungan biasa loh.
Tapi jangan lupa, harus fleksibel diambilnya. Harus longgar. Dan semudah mindahin dari rekening kamu ke aku.
Wah, mantul!
Cuan lebih tinggi, fleksibilitas tak terbatas.
Bank Negara Indonesia bertekad untuk terus maju, bergerak membangun bangsa, dan berkomitmen untuk senantiasa memberikan yang terbaik bagi pemerintah dan masyarakat Indonesia. BNI ikut serta dalam mewujudkan sebuah konsep kota impian masa depan, kota cerdas yang terintegrasi dengan teknologi, mengelola sumber daya secara efektif melalui digitalisasi transaksi untuk meningkatkan kualitas hidup masyarakatnya. BNI sepenuhnya mendukung arahan pemerintah dalam mendorong penerapan program Smart City pada beberapa pemerintahan daerah di Indonesia. Penerapan Smart City pada sebuah kota atau kabupaten memberikan begitu banyak kemudahan dalam bertransaksi, transparansi pemerintahan daerah, dan meningkatkan kualitas pelayanan publik. Dengan jaringan cabang BNI yang luas, channel transaksi online yang beragam, Smart City telah sukses diaplikasikan di sebagian besar pemerintahan daerah di Indonesia. Dengan ikut berpartisipasi dalam mensukseskan program Smart City, BNI telah turut mewujudkan cashless society dalam meningkatkan pelayanan di daerah seperti digitalisasi dan transparansi proses transaksi keuangan pemerintah daerah, memberikan solusi untuk peningkatan penerimaan pajak asli daerah dengan sistem yang terintegrasi dan real-time online, dan meningkatkan kepercayaan publik terhadap transparansi retribusi, penyaluran anggaran, dan pelayanan pemerintah daerah. BNI menghadirkan solusi terbaik yang efektif dan efisien dalam membantu pengelolaan penyaluran anggaran daerah dengan BNI Direct SP2D Online. BNI juga membantu peningkatan pendapatan pajak asli daerah melalui solusi penerimaan pajak daerah serta solusi transaksi cashless lainnya. BNI terus berinovasi dan menyediakan solusi yang sejalan dengan dimensi-dimensi Smart City. Untuk Indonesia, kami selalu ada, dimanapun, kapanpun. BNI, melayani negeri kebanggaan bangsa.
It's easy to be blinded by the urgent issues facing our planet. But to shut our eyes is not in our DNA. We look at problems not as one big challenge. We break them down into a spectrum of solutions. Leveraging our pioneering and digital technologies to co-create innovative solutions with our partners and customers across the entire value chain. Powering efficiency by creating a smarter, more flexible power grid. Powering resilience and reliability by digitalizing the energy value chain. Powering safety by enabling cyber-secure infrastructure for mission-critical sectors. Powering sustainability by integrating renewables into the power grid. We are two pioneers combining generations of expertise for a stronger, smarter, and greener future. Powering good for sustainable energy. Hitachi ABB Power Grids.
Siap, ya. Ini saya jalan ya.
Pak, tunggu, ini ada yang belum, Pak. Pak, ada tagihan pajak.
Oke.
Pak, gaji karyawan harus diotorisasi.
Beres.
Halo Pak, pembayaran supplier harus segera jalan ya Pak.
Oke. Gampang.
Lakukan semua transaksi harian perusahaan Anda. Anda dapat dengan mudah mengelola transfer management, billing payment, electricity payment, dan lainnya. Dengan BNI Direct Mobile, Anda dapat mengelola bisnis Anda 24 jam, kapanpun, dimanapun. Semua urusan jadi lebih mudah. Download BNI Direct Mobile.
BNI.
Menjadi pemimpin butuh persiapan. Untuk wujudkan mimpi satu demi satu, harus bekerja sama mempersiapkan masa depan untuk hadapi segala rintangan. dan gapai kemenangan, raih hasil terbaik untuk perusahaan. Dengan payroll dari BTN Solusi yang sistemnya praktis dan otomatis. Juga benefit selangit. Wujudkan impian dengan kredit ringan. Jaringan ATM-nya luas. Karyawan juga makin berkembang dengan pelatihan finansial dan wirausaha. Dan pastinya bisa bantu karyawan miliki rumah lebih mudah dengan KPR, guys. Karena hidup kita gak cuma tentang hari ini, tapi juga untuk esok nanti. Bersama BTN Solusi, impian jadi terlaksana. Dari Bank BTN.
Sekarang semua serba listrik. Masak juga. Karena kita kan pakai kompor induksi. Bentuknya keren, modern, terlihat canggih. Ini tidak ada apinya. Anak-anak bisa aman masak pakai kompor ini. Padahal pancinya panas loh.
Hidup sendirian itu butuhlah yang praktis-praktis. Kayak kompor ini, mudah dibersihkan, mudah digunakan. Tinggal pencet, nyaman, bisa dipindah-pindah. Jadi bisa cari posisi enak untuk masak hotpot. Dan video callan deh biar seru.
Kompor induksi itu suhunya dapat diatur sesuai kebutuhan masak dan stabil. Jadi bisa lebih cepat. Pelanggan gak perlu nunggu lama dan kita bisa melayani lebih banyak. Omset pun jadi naik. Yang jelas, kompor induksi itu tidak ada emisi CO2. Berarti ramah lingkungan. Karena dengan listrik, hidup lebih baik.
Kita baru saja menang tender. Siapkan bank garansi untuk jaminan pekerjaannya.
Oke, saatnya ke bank. List segala persyaratan, pastikan semua dokumen lengkap.
Tolong semua dipercepat ya.
Untuk itu, gue diandalkan. Loh, tanda tangannya mana?
Aku lupa tanda tangannya ibu. Bu, maaf.
Makanya pakai bank garansi. Langsung buka di gb-online.bni.co.id. Isi application, lanjut approve, release, data submit deh. Semua sudah tahu bank garansi kan? BNI.
Nggak perlu ribet kalau ada cara mudah untuk punya rumah. BTN Property pertama di Indonesia. Aplikasi properti milik bank dengan 4D Virtual Survey. Survei lokasinya secara online. Pengajuan KPR-nya juga secara online. So simple. Untuk new experience membeli rumah secara online, cuma di BTN Property. Solusi mudah, miliki rumah. Download aplikasinya sekarang.
Wherever you go, whatever you do, you are never far from ABB Drives and Motors. From cooling to warming a building, we help you hit the right temperature while avoiding high monthly energy bills. We also make sure you can squeeze out every gram of sugar without wasting a drop of energy. And for extracting raw materials, we are breaking new ground in safe, efficient electric mines. We provide the power to bend metal and the precision to craft paper. Our smart motion technology enables oil, gas, and chemicals to flow and brings uninterrupted water and power for millions of people around the world. ABB's traction technologies, from drives and motors to battery storage systems, make rail transport even more sustainable. Wherever you look, ABB Smart Motion keeps your world turning.
Butuh keberanian untuk kembali melangkah maju. Meski banyak mimpi yang tertahan, menyerah bukan pilihan. Kini saatnya melangkah bersama. Dengan keyakinan dan semangat, membuka lembaran baru. Kini saatnya menggapai semua tujuan. Merancang masa depan, mewujudkan cita-cita kemakmuran. Kini, saatnya kata-kata menjadi perbuatan nyata untuk kita semua. HSBC, kini saatnya melesat.
Kenapa kita harus berubah?
Indonesia terus bergerak cepat bersama roda ekonomi dunia. Sekarang saatnya beradaptasi, eranya bertransformasi. Tapi, kenapa masih ada yang ragu?
Digital, bukannya ribet ya?
Emang usaha saya bisa diapain lagi pakai digital? Sinkronisasi data pakai digital. Aman kah?
Untuk terus melesat, jadilah bagian dari perubahan sekarang juga. Saatnya bisnis Anda melesat bersama Telkomsel My Business.